What's up, guys? Welcome back to the CONVO Couch. I am extremely excited today because we just got approved for monetization on YouTube, and we've been fighting for it for a while. If you guys recall, YouTube denied it, and we were still doing this thing and just trying to get everybody to donate on our Patreons. But starting tomorrow, Pasta and I are going to do a live show. He's also going to have someone he's interviewing. And we're just really thankful. It was a struggle for a while because they really did not want to give it to us. And Jonny, Pasta, and I are very excited. I wanted to do a really quick live stream today because I wanted to talk about what's been going on with the Working Families Party endorsing Elizabeth Warren. But before I get into that, let me just make sure that I can pull up the stream, unless you want to monitor it, Jonny. Okay. So I just want to, whoever wants to be the first to donate to us via the monetization, send us a super chat. That would be awesome. Pasta's not here today, but tomorrow, like I said, we're going to have more of like a hype show. I wanted to start a little short live stream to pretty much focus on this. So let's get started. So today, the Working Families Party, it came out that they decided to endorse Elizabeth Warren via a very superdelegate-like process. So the party that is representing working families has endorsed the candidate that's preferred by Third Way, has taken corporate money from big dogs, and is pandering as a progressive who funneled money from her Senate campaign into her POTUS campaign, who is the establishment's chosen one, as you can all see thus far, who's going to take corporate PAC money in the general, who has admitted to that, who has backed off Medicare for all. Her plan is not Medicare for all, who is terrible on foreign policy, has had a very pro-military agenda, talking about green bombs and how to make our military more green, which superficially sounds good, but it's really just another way of having a pro-military industrial complex platform. And so let's look at what they say. Let's look really quick at what they're saying. So here's the article. The Working Families Party endorses Warren in blow to Sanders. Of course, Politico decided to frame it this way, but actually it quite is a blow because in 2016 they endorsed Bernie Sanders. So I wanted to highlight this part right here. Senator Warren strikes fear into the hearts of the robber barons who rig the system and offer hope to millions of working people who have been shut out of our democracy and our economy. Maurice Mitchell, the National Party director, said in a statement. Who are we kidding? Does Elizabeth Warren really strike fear into the hearts of the robber barons? If she really struck fear into the hearts of the robber barons, she would absolutely not be supported by Third Way. She would absolutely not be propped up by the mainstream media. She would absolutely be attacked and demonized the way someone like Tulsi Gabbard is. Because that's the reality of the situation. I don't really know who they think they're kidding over here. The party also talked about how let me just read it to you guys. If our focus is on victory, and this is the same national director who said this, we can't be delusional about it. You don't defeat the moderate wing of the Democrats through thought pieces or pithy tweets. You defeat their politics through organizing. Now, Maurice Mitchell, who said this, clarified later and said, oh, that wasn't a dig at Bernie Sanders. We just want to make sure, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that is directly a dig, if not to Bernie Sanders, to his campaign, which his communications people, his the people who do the media for Bernie, the journalists who are very trusted. I really trust Brianna Joy Gray and David Serrata. So yes, technically they could be talking about them, but let's be real here. Bernie Sanders is the organizer in chief. I mean, he's an organizer. He is an activist who has been on the streets since day one fighting for justice, and who would be amazing for a lot of us organizers and activists to see someone like that in office, because we really haven't had someone like that in office of the presidential office to say. And for them to not just deny Bernie the nomination when he literally works for working people. He literally gets the most donations from people of color, women, and working class people, when literally Elizabeth Warren, statistically, we've talked about it on this show, gets more donations from affluent, middle to upper class white people. And there's nothing against, obviously, I'm not here to talk about, the racial bias, but I'm here to talk about the us, not me, like the working class versus the corporate elite class. You, as a working families party, should be looking at what your constituents support. And here's the thing. The constituents largely supported Bernie Sanders, and I'm going to go over how that is. And to me, the fix is in. This is how it's going to go. So let's focus here right now, because all of the polling recently and all of the mainstream media has been propping up Warren. As I said, here's a Morning Consult poll where they're talking about how the report says that she is steadily rising after the Houston debate. And my whole thing with this is we need to stop the idea that we're hearing centrists and some progressives talk about how this is all because of the Bernie campaign, because they're not doing the work. This is all because they're not organizing. This is all because, Bernie just doesn't have it this time. That this is all because he's not reaching working families. That's a load of bull. The reality of the situation is not on us, the people, or on the campaign. The reality of the situation is that this is about how the process has gone through, and the process is anything but transparent or democratic. So let me read to you this tweet that I had that kind of summarizes what I think is going on. So for the record, anyone claiming that the Working Families Party's process was democratic and transparent is ignorant of facts or lying to you. It was anything but that. This isn't about Bernie losing support and this on the people. This is about the corrupt system at its finest. And I'm going to explain to you guys how that is. So there's an email thread that the Working Families Party released, and the Working Families Party started out by saying Warren wins with 60.9% of support in the first round of ranked choice voting. However, they tell you the breakdown right here. The two highest vote getters were Warren and Sanders, with Sanders getting 35.82% to Warren's 60.91%. Overall, 80% of people listed them as their top picks. Okay, but when you continue to read on the rest, I'm just going to highlight right here that Warren's 60.91 vote share in the first round won her the endorsement outright, with no further voting rounds necessary. Her endorsement, half of the total vote share, went to the Working Families supporter base, with the other half going to the Working Families Party National Committee. So that is an important part right here, because that means that the majority, that it's not one person, one vote, that there were committee members whose vote counted much more than the people's. Again, for lack of a better word, that is the superdelegate process. This process is not democratic. It is not transparent. And here again is another thing I want to point out. The Working Families Party National Committee, which includes representatives from WFP, state chapters, and the local branches, as well as the National Progressive Movement and movement leaders, will comprise 50% of the total vote share. So in this graphic right here that I just read, it literally tells you that there's these leaders are composing 50% of the vote. So what does that mean? That means that they have people whose vote counts more than yours, and that's a reality of the situation. So saying that it's Bernie's fault, or that the campaign isn't doing enough and they're not organizing in a place like New York, where Bernie has literally had the most gigantic rallies, he's had so much support. It's obviously not about him losing the support, because again, statistically, he gets the majority of his support from the working class. It's just the fact that the way this was conducted, really lends itself to being similar to a superdelegate process. I want to point out that also journalist Dave Weigel kind of talked to the national director, and he said that the Working Families Party's endorsement of Warren is not surprisingly irritating some Sanders supporters. Warren's win combined two totals, a vote by WFP leaders and online member vote. Each of those counted for 50% of total, but WFP won't release the separate tallies. What that means is they're not going to let us know exactly how many individuals voted for Bernie versus the people that comprise whose vote counted more. They refuse. And he said in 2015, the Worker Families Party released the result of the online membership survey, which was 87% for Sanders. So how are you going to tell me that Bernie Sanders in 4 years, when his rallies are only getting bigger, his name recognition is getting bigger, everything, he has more media presence, all of that. He's not running the same campaign he was running in 2016, 2015 when he was unknown. How are you going to tell me that he's going to go from 87% to 35%? Like, how is that even possible to even think that's going to happen? That's even legit. And on top of that, they refuse to release the tallies of the membership survey, and they did it before. So what's changed? Well, the reality is that the entirety of the Democratic Party is trying to co-opt our progressive movement. This is how they do it. Now, the progressive word has been co-opted. It is no longer valid. It is a farce. Anyone can call themselves a progressive. Kamala Harris has called herself a progressive. Nancy Pelosi has called herself a progressive. That's the reality of the situation. I also want to mention one more tweet. He said he talked to the WFP's national director, Maurice Mitchell, earlier, and he made it clear that the group won't release separate vote totals. For there to be one true vote and to maintain the nature of secret ballot, all of that went into the back end. So they're telling you we're not going to release it. Like, if you have nothing to hide, why aren't you releasing it? I think people are mistaking this, like, oh, you Bernie supporters are always mad when things don't go your way. No, we're mad when we see injustice. We're mad when we see corruption. This isn't about being a Bernie supporter. This is about the system and how corrupt it is and how blatantly they change the rules to make it seem like, oh, well, no, any sort of questioning is a conspiracy theory. I've already seen people say, well, there's no conspiracy theory. I mean, they conducted this in a fair... No, they haven't. Let's be real. Let's cut the crap. Seriously, let's just cut that out. They're asking us to believe that Bernie Sanders all of a sudden is less popular than he was 4 years ago when his popularity has only increased. And I also want to point out that Carlos Ramirez, who is involved in politics, he tweeted today this very important tweet that said, I heard the board got a signal from big donors that those donors will only fund the Working Families Party initial endorsement if it was for Warren. It is what it is. We know Bernie continues to have the biggest base of support among working families, which is true, and that he is the best for our working families. So obviously the fix is in. Again, I'm going to repeat that because the reality of the situation is they're doing this. And we've been screaming, I know here at this channel, we've been screaming since day one that Elizabeth Warren is Bernie's biggest threat. Initially, the chosen one was Kamala Harris after Tulsi Gabbard so amazingly destroyed her. Kamala Harris, honestly, is no longer as relevant. You guys have noticed a shift. Same with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been used as a joke. Like, they're just mocking him now. He's like a carcass, and they just keep ripping the pieces. I really think it's even pointless to go after Joe Biden. I mean, I think his record alone speaks volumes, and I think we can go on his record. But the fact of the matter is, the one person that can take votes from Bernie, that can actually maybe convince people that if she's on top, that she's got the shot and that she's not that bad and that she's pretty progressive and that she's close to Bernie, all of that is Elizabeth Warren. And I think if at this point you are not actively talking about the differences between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, then you're working against the Bernie campaign. And obviously, if you support Elizabeth Warren, that's your choice. But if you are a Bernie supporter, or if you are a progressive that is interested in the difference in policy and who's the actual person that's been for years through and through the one person that has been consistent on a lot of these issues, especially in comparison to Elizabeth Warren. I mean, you have to point out the differences, and you can't expect the campaign to do it. That's the thing. You can't expect the campaign to necessarily lead. Again, this comes from the idea that change comes from the bottom up. It is the grassroots. It is the volunteers. It is the supporters. It is the media that have to push out these truths, because then that is the way that the change happens. The change isn't going to come down from the top. And I think sitting around and waiting to even mention her name in regards to policy was a terrible mistake. And I think Bernie could start differentiating himself, and he did in the last debate when he said that he was the only one there who didn't vote for any of Trump's military budgets, which is true. Elizabeth Warren voted for 2 of them, and the only reason she didn't vote for the 3rd one is because she was running and she knew that. So that's the reality. Jonny, do you have anything you want to add? Oh, yes. Yeah. Sweet. Super chats.
All right. Yeah, we do have a couple super chats.
Thank you for breaking our super chat cherry.
Okay. A. Mayer says, congratulations, and put a little fee emoji with champagne glasses and fists in the air. Freedom Tribe, always watching. Big fan of ours. Congrats on the monetization. Love the convo, she says. David Mazel says, welcome back to Big Spender Spencer's. I want to say, let's shout out some people. Michael Cruz, what's up? Drew Harley. Let's see, Tracy Wayman, Aurelius Prime, Christian Gutierrez, Jeff Adelman. Let's see, who else? Elizabeth Mason. Who else? Let's see. Lee Cox. Mission. Rocky Bellinger.
Sup, Rocky? Thanks for the support. You are awesome.
And then we had a couple more super chats. Let me see. Okay. Balthazar.
Sup, Balthazar?
Now that you have monetization, I highly recommend looking into Streamlabs or an alternative. It helps you track all donations day to day, week to week.
Nice.
Delivers in 2 days and takes much less than YouTube. We need a Windows computer first.
Really?
For Streamlabs, yeah.
Oh.
I looked into it, Baldassar, but thanks for the suggestion. Jennifer Hertzler. I am so happy you did this video, Fiorella. Thanks for all that you and Pasta do. Gloves need to come off when it comes to Warren.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And we don't have to focus on low blows. We don't have to call her names and whatever the case may be. But we can talk about policy. And I think not differentiating, again, her policy from Bernie's is a mistake. And a lot of people want to do that because they want to be polite and in a certain way. But this is the reality. This is the most important election of our time. We can't afford to just not talk about it. And I think staying silent is also making a choice, not taking a stance against corruption. If the process had been legitimately fair, if every vote had counted one person, one vote, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation. But the fact of the matter is that's not how it was conducted. And that's the reality of the situation. Do we have anyone on Facebook?
All right, doing a couple more shout outs. William Martyr, David Mazel, what's up? Kathy Lloyd, I think I said your name already. Repich One. Mike Sarvis, Jacko here, Soul Construct. What's up? He calls me Shadow for some reason. I don't know.
Shadow?
Yeah.
Interesting.
DJ Shadow or something like that. Let's see. Oh, Kathy Lloyd gave us a super chat.
Thank you, Kathy.
It says Bernie or FTS. What does FTS mean? You should know.
I know what that means, but if I curse, we might get demonetized.
What is it?
I hear you.
The what?
F this poo.
Oh, F.
F this shiz.
Habo Ristra also gave us a super chat with no comment.
Damn.
If
Thank
you comment, then I will read the comment. Cool.
Awesome. And let me check the YouTube or the Facebook.
Yeah, check the Facebook.
Yes, Warren did endorse Richard Cordray over Dennis Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich, honestly, before Bernie, was one of my favorite people. When she did that was one of the last straws. Ohio has a Republican now. because of that.
Over on the MCSC network, I see Natalie Chavez.
Sup, Natalie?
I think she was at the Tulsi rally.
She was. I met her in person. She's awesome. And her kids.
Awesome.
They're cute.
Awesome. Carl Cardona. R. Jizzle put a super chat through MCSC network. He says, congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Nunnels, Thunder Horse.
I wanted, before we go, let me see if I have any other comments that you guys have. I don't know why this thing doesn't show me all the comments.
Lee Cox says, my pick for Bernie Secretary of State is Tulsi. I think that's interesting. No. Earlier he said Secretary of Treasury for Warren. I thought that one was interesting.
I wouldn't be opposed to her being in. I feel like if she was in a progressive environment, an actual progressive environment,
then I think
she could do well.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think she is. I don't think she's Hillary. Like, I don't think she's that person, but I do think she's dangerous because she's going to continue keeping us in the system, the status quo. Nothing's going to change. So when nothing changes, we still go back to the same conditions that led to a Donald Trump. And that's the last thing we want to do. Because what's happened under Donald Trump is at least, some sort of awakening now, but a lot of terrible things have happened to the economy as well. And of course, he hasn't done everything. The neoliberal policies since Reagan have been this buildup until right now. So we need to focus on changing the system. We can't just fix the system as it is. It has to be changed. So thanks for your comment.
And then also just another super chat. Lori Mountain Galpow. Hi, Patreon here. Just want to show my support for the Combo Couch.
Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you so much.
We really love our Patreons. We really support them. I think we're going to do something. I don't know. Pasta was talking about doing something specific for the Patreons. Yeah. But
she's got a cute little cat picture.
I love cats. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I wanted to tell you guys one last thing. This is, some of you may know about this, but some of you may not. From New York, the state of New York has closed primaries. So what that means is you have to register as a Democrat to vote for Bernie or Tulsi or one of the Democrats. Obviously, if you're a progressive, you have a very limited scope as to who you want to vote for. But the deadline to change this party affiliation is October 11th until further notice. So please share that widely. And I want to read to you guys, my friend, she messaged, she couldn't get a clear answer from anywhere. She did a lot of research and she couldn't get a clear answer until she messaged them. And they said that there is a law that might change it, but until right now, it's going to be October 11th.
Wait. So you said the last day to register as a Democrat, and because it's a closed primary in New York, right?
You have to register as a Democrat.
You have to register
if
as
you're
a
a
Democrat.
Republican, independent, third party, and you want to vote for Bernie, you cannot vote for him unless you register.
Tulsi.
Or Tulsi as a Democrat unless you register by October 11th, which is in less than a month. And I have barely seen this information out. I know the Bernie campaign released a graphic, but they're about the only campaign that I've seen release a graphic. So whoever you support, just make sure to know that I think primaries are far more important now, because if a lot of Republicans, we can get to vote as a Democrat. We can get independents and third-party people. As much as you hate the Democratic Party, and I'm going to say this before I go, as much as you hate the Democratic Party, it is always easier to vote for the nominee or your choice if you register as a Democrat. I was an independent. I was green before as well. I registered as a Democrat recently because of what happened in California last time around. I don't want that to happen again. We have a jungle primary, which is different than New York, but still things happen. You would get a provisional ballot and all of these things in California. So we don't want that to happen. But New York is worse because you only have until October to change your affiliation. So we want New York to go to win for a progressive, and that's the reality. And unfortunately, this is the system we're stuck in. So yeah, it sucks that it has to be that way, like that they make you go through all these hoops, but that's what it is. Did you want to say something, Johnny?
Freedom Tribe was asking, what about the deadline in California?
Okay, so you can register accordingly and switch your affiliation up until the day of. That is what they're saying.
Well, I just looked up something. It says voter registration. In California, the deadline to register to vote for any election is 15 days before Election Day. So please register early.
But
Is March 3rd the primary?
Yes.
Okay.
But they edited it to where you can register if you haven't been registered until the day of. That's what we were told at the election, at the voting poll thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they edited that. But that's still,
right,
don't just do it ahead of time, because I don't trust anything at this point. And we're going to have more regarding the polling machines, regarding all of these things that are happening.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. It doesn't seem like it's open source, but we have to do a whole separate stream on that. Anybody else? Anything else, Johnny?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a short show, you guys, but tomorrow we'll be back with Pasta. We're going to talk some foreign policy. He's going to interview somebody as well, and then we'll have more. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys for supporting us, and I will see you very soon. Share this video. This is important information. Please get it out there. Let your outrage speak in a way that is constructive, but still it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to use that anger to make things happen. Go outside, donate to Bernie, donate to Tulsi, go canvas, do your things, and don't let this bog you down. This would just give you more of an impulse to fight the power. So thank
Thanks
you guys
for tuning in.
Bye guys. CONVO out.
Peace.